Hey everyone, this is Krista from Expedition Wildlife, and today I'm going to be showing you the different components of the Thayer Birding Software. Now, this is one of my favorite programs in general, but also I think the most comprehensive program for learning birds in North America by sight and sound and really being able to hone in your identification skills. So let's take a look at what this program has to offer, just even in a cursory view to see everything that you can get if you get this program. So first, we have a field guide that includes all of the birds that you would potentially be able to see in North America. So there's over 1,000 different birds in this field guide. And within this field guide, you will see, for example, we're using the A-bird's towhee, the first bird in our alphabetic order of all these different birds. Of course, you can switch to taxonomic if that is your preference. And we can see anything from something as simple as the species name and the 4-letter birding code to classification information such as size, identification tips to help you with identifying the species, and getting a little bit more advanced, being able to enter in your own sighting information. So if you are recording birds that you're seeing out in your backyard, in your local park, on your travels, anything, you can go in here and you can add in sighting information as well as media such as pictures, videos, or sound recordings of that particular species of interest, and you can essentially keep your bird list, your life list going in this program. There's other references that you can go back to just to see information also about the species. Xenocanto is one of my favorite go-to resources for listening to other songs, especially listening to different dialects of the same species, depending on where you find them in the country or in North America. You have different types of photos, so photos of adult males and females, juveniles, birds in different stages of their molting, and also nests potentially or eggs. There are sounds included in here. We'll get into that a little bit more later, but there are comprehensive sounds or calls that are typical of that particular species. Habitat and behavior information, so where you would typically find them, and of course associated with that, the range map associated with the kinds of habitat that you would find them in, so where you're going to find them in North America. Even within this field guide, you can compare different species that you're looking at. So if you are trying to identify a particular individual that you've seen out in the field, or you just want to know the difference between different kinds of towhees, for example, you can go in, and these are located in 2 different parts of North America, but you can see and compare the difference in photographs of these individuals, which is really useful. So you can look at a side-by-side comparison. You can use this handy-dandy tool here. This is called the Birder's Handbook. And this, which I'll talk a little bit more about later as well, has comprehensive information, additional notes that you might not necessarily find in the field guide on this particular species. So nest location, for example, additional breeding information, any kind of flight displays or mating displays that they might exhibit. So this is a really useful tool. You can look at similar species that you might confuse this bird with, or taxonomically similar species that you would find this bird next to in your field guide. The ID wizard is something that you can use when you are out in the field, or if you even just see a particular bird in your backyard that you aren't quite sure about. You can enter in these different components into the identification wizard. So location, size of the bird, habitat where you saw the bird, the primary colors of that bird that you saw. So sometimes there might be just one color, sometimes there are a few different colors that you would see in that bird. Prominent field markings, taxonomic information, and sounds of interest. So you can check as much information as possible in here, and it will give you a list of birds that could potentially be that particular bird. My most favorite component of this software, of this program, are the quizzes. Now, you can not only create custom quizzes of birds that you're interested in learning more about, not only, for example, in your backyard, in your zip code, in a location you're planning on visiting, but also quizzes that are fun. So if you just want to test your knowledge on birds that are only all black or have black characteristics, or all blue and have blue characteristics, or even birds that have prominent crests, birds that you would find in snowy landscapes, the options are practically endless. There are hundreds of quizzes available to you in here. And especially for beginning birders, this is my favorite section, the quizzes for new birders. And if you have birds that you're trying to identify or trying to learn in your backyard, for example, and you live on the East Coast, we'll just go through here. And you can see you can have multiple choice quizzes, fill in the blank, which is a little bit more challenging, flashcards, or picking one out of a multitude of different photos or sounds to identify a particular bird. And as we go through this quiz wizard or quiz module, you can see that we can choose difficulty levels. You can choose whether or not you only want to identify a particular individual, whether it's the male or female, or if you want to try and challenge yourself and do, something that's random. So if it's just a nest picture, whether you want to see a picture and a sound, if you just want to test yourself by sound. I'm just going to run through the wizard here. And of course, you can select how many times you want to see certain individuals in that quiz, if you want the quiz to be shuffled, so if you want to see birds multiple times throughout the duration of the quiz. And you can adjust it as much as you want based on your preferences. And when you run the quiz, it will come up with the potential bird that you would find in your backyard just on the East Coast. So you can go through and get a clue if you'd like. You can listen to the sound, since that's what I selected as my option for the quiz. You can see the picture of the bird.
Yes, that's correct.
And as you go through, you'll see different options for birds, right? And it will tell you when you're correct, when you're not correct, and it will log the ones that are incorrect. And if you'd like, in your quiz settings, you can go back and have them retest you on the ones that you didn't get right. So the quiz feature is my most favorite part of this software because it combines the field guide with all the information that you would want to know to test yourself and really hone in those identification skills with those quizzes. You can log your own personal sightings that you might find wherever you go birding in North America. You can create custom lists, again, of birds that you want to know, want to improve on, that are in your region, that are in a region you're planning on visiting, that has birds that you don't know but you want to test yourself on. And of course, there's the handbook. Let's go back to that. And you can see that not only are there all these different species and information about all those different species of birds in here, but when we go to the very top, you'll see that there's information that most birders would be really interested in learning more about. So there's prominent bird biologists or people who've contributed significantly to bird biology or ornithology. There's bird naming characteristics, so information about how families of birds got their names or defining features of those families. And then there's the essays portion, which is really cool, and I love this portion of the software because you can select an essay such as molting, and it gives you all the information you want to know in a cursory view about molting, as well as similar topics within this handbook that you could select that might have to do with molting. So even if you're just looking to find more information about different kinds of birds, or if you're trying to find out more information about bird ecology or biology, this guide, this handbook, is incredibly comprehensive, and it's included within the Thayer Birding software. And there's pretty much an endless amount of reading that you can go through to learn about all these different topics. So it's really incredible. As I mentioned in my recent blog about the Thayer Birding software, this program is comprehensive in all of the detailed information that it gives you, and with the ability to use these quizzes not only in wintertime or when you're not even at a particular location where you're trying to learn the birds for, these quizzes can help out immensely in learning birds by sight, by sound, especially with the different sounds that are offered and the different photographs and videos that are offered. Really, this is how I was able to learn birds initially, by sight and sound, but also when we moved to the West Coast and I was able to learn birds that I had never even seen before we even moved to the West Coast. This really helped me out with that, and it progressed me forward in my identification skills. So don't hesitate. Check out our most recent blog post on the product review for the Thayer Birding software to find out why we feel this product is a worthwhile addition to your birdwatching repertoire and gear list. And check out the Thayer Birding software website at thayerbirding.com to find more information about the software and everything you need to know to download it today.